The Stone Age is commonly referred to as a large period of prehistoric times. During this time, man used stone-made weapons, which is why it is called the Stone Age. Early human history can be broadly classified as the Stone Age and the Metal Age. The Stone Age is also known as the Practical Era, because this is the period before the invention of writing techniques. From the origin of the world until today, 95% were Stone Age. It is assuming that this period lasted until about 5000 BC. In other words, until 5000 BC, man had no writing skills. Since then, scientists have been able to make history based on rock records. The Stone Age itself has been staged to Paleolithic and Neolithic era. This has been done for the ease of historical study, based on the appearance of the metal weapon. The first habitation of man was believed to the northern hemisphere. This area has long been covered with ice. Occasionally it snowed, creating a climate for plants and organisms to live. It has been snowing for a long time and has prevented species from living. When the glacier is over, the plants and animals grow and thrive. It was then the time of the next glacier, but the man survived the glacier period with his special intelligence. They lived in small groups in caves, hunting and killing animals, first eating raw meat, and after finding the fire started baked and eaten. He made sharp weapons using parts of rocks and wood. He made garments made of wood and leaves. The Paleolithic Era. Scientists speculate that the Paleolithic age was from 17.5 billion BC was up to 10,000 BC. This Paleolithic Stone Age can be divided into two periods, the Ancient and the Late periods. 3/4 of the prehistoric era was ancient. The human creatures that survived in this period were found in the Rift Valley of Africa. It is called Syngenthropus. As they have long been used for weapons of mass destruction and they are considered to be the oldest of the human race. Another example of an ancient man who lived in ancient times is Java man, recovered from the Java island. The characteristics of the Java man was his inability to walk really long, his big head, his short beard, and his 5'6" stature. The Peking man is a species that emerged after the Javanese. The name is derived from the discovery of the remains found in Peking, China. Information about the Neanderthal human had been discovered from the debris found in the Neanderthal Valley in Germany. They are the most well-known species today, thinking that they have lived about 120,000 years ago, before the last glacier period. He was 5 feet 5 inches tall, lean body, small brain and deformed. There were defects in walking. It is believed that over that time they learned to speak. It should be the beginning of human culture, always focused on improving weapons. They lived in a small group in caves. Weapons and other equipments were buried along with the body in the cremation of the dead. But over the times, this has been attributed to the invasion of enemies, the difficulty of subsistence and merged with other race. Excavators from Mount Carmel, Palestine have discovered the remains of similar Neanderthal human beings have been recovered. The next human race is the genus known as Aurignacian, named after the cave Aurignac, which is the origin of the river Garonne in France. Thinking they have appeared about 70,000 years ago, they deserve to be the ancestor of modern men. Their descendants are still found in Wales, Ireland, France, Spain, Portugal and Algeria. The Cro-Magnon genus is the most important species in this species. The remains were recovered from a cave in Cro-Magnon, France. They were more cultured progressive than Neanderthal race. They have a height about 6 feet, a big beard, long sleeves and a big forehead. Another species of Grimaldi, contemporaries of the Cro-Magnons, have been found in the ruins of the Grimaldi cave on the Italian coast. Their faces are wide and their heads are small. They were more sophisticated and artistic than Neanderthal. They knew to make needles with animal horns and bones. The Neolithic era. Its origin and conclusion are not known clearly, thinking that it began more than 10,000 years ago. But it is assumed that it began about 7,000 years ago in Egypt and Southwest Asia. There is an evidence that the basins of the Nile River began about 6,000 years ago. Also, different evidence has been found from different parts of the world. This is a time when social and cultural revolutionary changes took place in the human history. The Neolithic age is called a peasant age because man learned to farm. They grew barley, millet, fruit, and some herbs. It is also at this time that wild animals are tamed and domestic animals such as cows were raised. The most advanced weapon of the Neolithic age was the stone axe. It is made with polished granite stone. This must have made a big difference in the lives of men. They cut down the trees of the forest and built a house and a bridge. Pottery making is another revolutionary change. The motivation for this must have come from the needs for the food storage. The earthenware vessels made in the Stone Age are handmade. These were less beautiful and sturdy compared to pottery made with the help of Kushava Chakra in the later Metal Age, but the basic needs were met. Another major innovation was the manufacture of clothing. As they learned to make wool out of jute cloth, they also learned how to make woolen garments and to raise sheep and wool gradually. This helped them survive the cold. When he started farming, he must have started thinking about home. In the early days, houses were built on trees and bushes. Evidence for the existence of such shelters had been found in the Lake of Switzerland. In time, when they obtained skills to make baked bricks, they began to build more fortified homes and places. Aboriginal culture developed in Egypt, Mesopotamia and the Indus River basins. It is also at this time that religion has taken a place in the man's mind. As the protector of the crop, nature is worshipped by man for the first time. By giving life to the nature, he worshipped the force of the air, water and the sun. Fearing natural disaster and diseases, and he was running for the medicines. At that time, witchcraft and lewdness were arose. The concept of nation was also born during the Neolithic age. It is believed that when the peasants of particular land prospered and those in other sects did not get it, the conflicts that caused it may have prompted the people to unite and be given the authority to choose a leader. Gradually, these leaders replaced the kings. One of the cultural contributions of the Neolithic age is the so-called megaliths found in many parts of the world. There are megaliths means great monuments up to 65 feet height. The similarity and shape of the rock carvings found in England, France, Scandinavia, Ireland, Spain, Malta, Syria, Korea, and China indicate that the earliest cultures were interconnected or evolved. Some of these monuments have been found from a few places in South India, state Kerala. This includes the Marriott and the Capstone. Such capsules have been found from Ooty in the Nilgiri of Tamil Nadu and the Kodaikanal in the Palani Hills. These include stone burials and large earthen ruins. The construction of the canoe enabled him to seek new pastures in waterfront groups. They arrived in Hawaii, Labrador, and Patagonia, far from Africa. According to the archaeologists, people of the Paleolithic era were hunters and gatherers. They led a nomadic life, gathered around for food. In the Neolithic era, people settled down, having a more sedentary lifestyle. The Bronze Age. The making of metal was another turning point. The copper is generally acceptable as it is relatively easy to purify and it is found in some places in the layers of metal. In the earlier days, copper was used primarily for jewelry and utensils. Copper lacked the strength to produce weapons. He soon learned to add stiffness and increase the hardness. That is how the bronze came into being. The bronze was powerful enough to make the weapon. This period is known as the Bronze Age. Copper processing took place in much of the Middle East. As a result, trade to Europe and elsewhere flourished. Iron Age. The discovery of iron again takes a long time. It may have been delayed because iron ore was not readily available in the earth, or it's difficult in refine. But once it became popular, it was replaced by bronze weapon. Many important discoveries are taking place in this era. The discovery of the wheels was a turning point for the human zodiac. Nations soon gained strength and sought to dominate other nations.